All right, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. We have quorum, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. This is the Wichita Area Metropolitan Planning Organization Transportation Policy Body meeting on Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. Glad everyone's here. We do have quorum. Thanks to everyone who has joined us already. I know some few people let me know that they would be late. The first thing is we will approve the TPP agenda for today, October 8th, 2024. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
All right, it's a fight. I love it. I love the competition. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Okay, you're abstaining from the agenda. All right.
I'm sorry. I will vote for the agenda.
He is dreadfully opposed to the agenda today, folks. No, I'm just kidding. It's been that day. I gotcha. Next on the agenda is the approval of the TPP minutes from September 10th of 2024. As always, the WAMPO team did a great job preparing them for us. Does anybody have any changes or recommendations? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed?
So I'm going to abstain.
Anyone want to abstain? Okay. Mayor Jim wants to abstain. Anyone else not here last month? Okay. Thank you very much. Excellent. Let's go ahead and go to director's report with Chad.
Madam Chair, thank you so much. Members of the WAMPO Transportation Policy Body, good afternoon. We have a few updates and reports to you from staff. First couple of them, Markey with quarterly Unified Planning Work Program, and also the upcoming 2025 Unified Planning Work Program. Markey, thanks.
Hi, Markey Jonas, Administrative and Public Outreach Coordinator here at WAMPO. I have two brief updates, both about our Unified Planning Work Program. The first one is a quarterly task chart update for the 2024 Unified Planning Work Program, or UPWP, which is essentially a budgeting document for WAMPO that outlines our priorities for the year. So the table here, which is also on your packet in page 8, shows the priority projects for 2024 and then the progress and the status of each of them. So I will just give you that to look over. I won't read through it all too much right now. And then we have also completed a UPWP activity report that we will submit alongside our quarterly reimbursement package to KDOT. And that is linked in the packet as well. Any questions? Okay.
Yeah.
And then another UPWP update. This one is actually for next year's Unified Planning Work Program for 2025. It is currently in the public comment period. Today is actually the last day. So if you've not already done so, please feel free to go look at it. It is available online on our website, and comments can just be sent to our WAMPO email. And so this, again, it outlines the priority planning projects in 2025 and kind of is how we prioritize staff hours and tasks. It outlines all of the plans we have for next year. The funding for it comes from various sources, including Federal Consolidated Planning Grant, or CPG funds, which require a 20% local match. And the CPG local match expenditures in the 2025 UPWP total $2,786,495. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Markey. Next item we have is Jessica Warren with CTD 9. Jessica, you're online, I think.
Hello, yes. Hi, everyone. Jessica Warren, Mobility Manager for South Central Kansas. I just quickly wanted to share an upcoming event, Kansas Mobility Week. It's November 3rd through 9th. And what Kansas Mobility Week is a celebration of all of the various modes of transportation that we have available. So biking, walking, and public transit are kind of the main ones. As a general overview of what the scope is, on the next slide, thank you, Markey. On the next slide, a general overview of how large Kansas Mobility Week is. We're in our fourth annual year. Last year, our third annual, you can see all of the gold counties were all the counties that had events. We had 57 events over those 38 counties, as well as 2 statewide events. And quickly on the next slide, the types of events that we have are free rides. A lot of times, we'll have free rides for Election Day. We'll see that a lot this year. A lot of public transit providers will be giving free rides to polling locations. There are some free rides for veterans and Veterans Day. Some city councils and county commissions will do recognition of their transit staff. Some areas will do free bike rides. There's Passenger Appreciation Day. There's transportation displays. It's really just a statewide celebration. Next slide, please. So for more information, there is a flyer on page 11 of your packet, I believe, that has our website, ksrides.org. And you can go to that website and at the top, click on Mobility Week to see all of the events that are across the county or across the state. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Jessica is transit. There are several transit districts in Kansas. Jessica works closely with KDOT's transit districts, and CTD 9 happens to be within the WAMPO. It's larger than WAMPO, but Jessica is a mobility director for that, and her office is located in WAMPO itself because of the regional mobility directors everywhere, just for your information. Next item we have is Kim and Dora on annual bicycle pedestrian count on Kim and Dora.
Good morning, Kim Negrete, your transportation safety planner. This year's annual bicycle and pedestrian count was a success. We had great weather, great Kansas weather for all 3 days, which was excellent. Just wanted to say thank you to all of you for helping us recruit volunteers and helping us stand out there and count. We appreciate it. I think we were able to get counts at every single location this year. So Dora Gallo, I don't know if you want to come on up. She is working on putting together the report data.
Yeah, I just wanted to give again thanks everybody that helped us and volunteered, and I am working on those yearly projections and the reports. So currently I'm working on the getting all that data together, and hopefully we can have a draft or a final to show you guys soon.
Thank you, everyone.
I have 2 questions,
yes.
If that's okay.
Yes.
Number one, we are going to have, I'm sure electric isn't the word, automated, whatever, fancy counters.
Yes, they have, yes.
So how will that impact this? Because I've done this count for years, yeah. Right? And so when we have, what do you call them? It's
the automatic.
Thank you, automatic. Yes. Okay,
yes.
Yeah, I was right. When we have automatic counters, will we still have this 3-day event annually?
We're going to start by testing them out and ensuring that they're really collecting the valid data, making sure they understand pedestrian versus someone in a wheelchair versus a bike. So we'll be testing those out, and then we hope to put about 10 of those around. So at some of our busiest locations, probably they'll be used, but we'll probably still need volunteers for the next year or 2 until we can possibly transition to enough counters.
Yeah, because I always worried when we do the counts, if it's raining, then it skews all the data, right? Or if it's whatever. And then my other question, I always ask this just because I think it's important when we invest time into doing a project like this, how will this data be used? What will it be used to guide in the future?
Yes, this data is actually very important. We can see where people are utilizing the infrastructure, maybe where we need to make some improvements. A lot of the volunteers made notes, extra notes about safety improvements and things that might be needed. In addition, a lot of nonprofits, cities, counties utilize this data for grant funding, other projects, and then looking at trends and seeing where they need to put some of that infrastructure funding. So.
Excellent. Thank you for the great answer.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kim, and thanks, Dora. Great questions, Madam Chair. I think also there's a routine program of counting vehicles and transit ridership, but there's no routine program of counting bike ped data. So this also helps in, like Kim said, finding the trends and how they're changing. The next item we have is Regional Transit Implementation Plan. Employer Focus Group, we had a meeting on September 16th. Like staff was sharing with you that the study is leading into collaboration with major employers in the region. Bill Tro, the project manager, had been presenting an update for you periodically. I think in the next few months, there will be a series of meetings with major employers exploring how major employers can serve their employees with some sort of transit system beyond. I mean, we have a lot of pride in Wichita Transit and Hayesville Hustle and Derby Dash. We have pride in those services. But, beyond those regions, how can commuters travel to major employers and other missing linkages? How can those be addressed? Is something we are exploring. And then as time progresses, we'll keep you informed how those discussions are evolving. I just wanted to share an update on that. So the next item we have is Metropolitan Transportation Plan. As you all know, WAMPO has two important deliverables. One is Long Range Transportation Plan development, and then the TIP, Transportation Improvement Program, where funding commitments are there. So this Long Range Transportation Plan, we have Nick Flanders to provide you an update.
Hello, this will be a quick update on the progress of the development of Metropolitan Transportation Plan 2050, known in shorthand as MTP 2050. WAMPO staff are still working on coordinating the development of the plan, and we are uploading chapters to the website as we complete them, as mentioned last time. A new development since last time is that the Project Selection Committee met on October 3rd and made recommendations for the project list that will be included in the MTP. And so soon we will have that together into a form for a chapter of the MTP that will be able to go online based off of those recommendations. And coming up, we have the 6th meeting of the Plan Advisory Committee for Metropolitan Transportation Plan 2050, which will be on Thursday, October 24th, with materials going out a week earlier, between the hours of 2 and 4 p.m. in this same building, but due to room scheduling conflicts, it is currently scheduled to be downstairs in room 126 in the MABCD area, but you can also attend via Zoom if you like. Any questions on Metropolitan Transportation Plan 2050?
Thank you, Nick. Excuse me. Madam Chair, that's all the reports. Yeah, thank you.
There's your water. Thank you, Nick. Thank you to all staff. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Chad, for your hard work and providing the director's report. Next is public comment. Not seeing anyone from the public unless Lynn or Steve want to give us any words of wisdom to share. All right. Next, we'll go to the action items. We have federal fiscal year 2025 through 2028 Transportation Improvement Program Amendment number 2. Peter.
Good afternoon.
It took me longer to say it than you to get up.
Good afternoon, TPP members. We have TIP amendment number 2. So basic schedule beforehand, we had our public comment period from August 30th to September 13th. We had TAC recommendation back on the 23rd. And today we are here to present amendment 2 for your consideration for approval. So you can check out the full details of the amendment summary that is shown on the screen as an attachment linked in your packet, or as a link at the bottom of the webpage at the URL shown. There are 9 projects in Amendment 2 that have requested changes that require TAC TPV approval, and 5 requests for new projects to be added to TIP, 1 request for 2 projects to be combined, and 1 for a project to be modified in the TIP. In addition, we also give notice of 4 projects that had administrative adjustments that don't require formal action. For example, minor cost changes, changes in the year of activity, updating contact information, things of that nature. So on the map, you can see all these different projects. This is also in your packet for your review. We have the table listed that you can go through here, just so you can kind of see where all of these different projects are in the region. Going through our list here, you can see the top 3 entries for formal action required. That is the City of Hayesville project that was combined. In the tip, what it looks like is 2 projects are removed and then a new project that is combined is added back in. We have the City of Park, or the 85th Street and Broadway project sponsored by the City of Park City. It had an increase in project costs paid for with local funds. The preliminary engineering phase was moved back from federal fiscal year 26 to 27. And then a portion of the STBG funding was adjusted from construction engineering to construction, but without actually changing the overall project cost. In addition, we have several new projects. First one is from Sedgwick County, the MacArthur from 215th Street to west to K42. And then several KDOT sponsored projects. The EV charger installation at Jabaro Airport, US 54 sign structures at Ridge Road in Sedgwick County, the KDOT sponsored Sedgwick County, half-mile west of K254 and Rock Road intersection, east to K254 and Greenwich Road intersection. And then finally, the KDOT sponsored US 54 from a quarter-mile east of 159th Street east to the Prairie Creek Road project. Those are all new projects there. And then our WAMPO suballocated funding changes. We do have 6 entries here. There is no net change in funding. Again, the first 3, the Hayesville sponsored project that was combined, are pretty self-explanatory. You can see that the cost of the 2 removed projects add up to the total amount on the single new project. The City of Park City with their 85th Street and Broadway roundabout, that project, no net changes in STBG funding, but the construction and construction engineering mix was adjusted on that project. And then the last 2 were administrative adjustments. We have the West Street I-235 MacArthur project. Again, on that one, it was the construction and construction engineering mix of funding was adjusted on that with no overall changing. And then finally on the Maple Street pathway, there was an increase of local funding, but no net funding change to the suballocated funding on that project. And then on this slide, or this graph, or this table, which isn't in the packet, if you take a look here over at the federal funding column, you can see all of the different sponsored projects that are here in the WAMPO region brought in a significant amount of federal dollars that are matched by our locals in the amount of about $31 million. That would be all federal funding within the WAMPO region that's part of this. And we'd just like to bring notice to that so you can kind of see the impact of how these different projects and different amendments really support the region and get a lot of federal dollars invested in our infrastructure. And then finally, in this one is in your packet here, you can see the summary of funding changes for all of the different TIP projects in amendment number 2. So moving on, our amendment number 2 meets requirements and had the public comment review period. It's consistent with the current MTP, Reimagine Move 2040. It's fiscally constrained and adds about $27.1 million in overall funding. So that finally brings us to our action options. We can approve the federal fiscal year 2025 to 2028 TIP amendment number 2 as presented, not approve, or approve with specific changes. TAC recommendation was to approve TIP amendment number 2 as presented.
Any questions for Peter? Okay, yes, Chad, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Quick comment that as Peter was mentioning the federal dollar sum total, I wanted to share and commend your leadership on the body, how this formation is to support and manage these federal dollars. Just want to take a moment to thank you for your leadership. And without your quorum and support and voting, all this would not have been possible in this. So that's all.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the 25-28 tip amendment number 2 as presented.
Thank you very much. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Gotcha, Mike. All right, it passes unanimously. Next, we have B, support KDOT federal performance measures. Peter, next again.
So some background on performance-based planning. So FHWA, the Federal Highway Administration, and the Federal Transit Administration jointly issued a planning rule to document changes in the statewide and metropolitan planning processes that will be consistent with the Moving Ahead for Progress in the 21st Century, or MAP 21 Act, and Fixing America's Surface Transportation, or FAST Act. This rule specifies the requirements for the state departments of transportation, your DOTs, and your metropolitan planning organizations to implement a performance-based approach to planning and programming. So performance management is a strategic approach to connect investment and policy decisions to help achieve performance goals. So performance measures are your quantitative criteria used to evaluate progress. And then you have your performance measure targets. They are the benchmarks against which progress is assessed using available data. So federal performance measures, there are 3 from the Federal Highway Administration, PM Run Rules 1, 2, and 3, and the Federal Transit Administration has their Transit Asset Management Rule and 1 FTA Transit Rule. For MPOs, after the state DOT establishes their performance measure targets, MPOs must either support the state targets or establish their own performance measure targets. In 2023, with TPP approval, WAMPO chose to support the state in achieving their performance measure targets for PM1, safety, PM2, bridge and pavement condition, PM3, system performance, and TAM, or transit asset management. In 2024, the performance measure targets, or the goals that we supported last year, they remained wholly unchanged for 2, 3, and TAM, but with the exception of the PM1 safety targets that have new targets for 2024. So first we have PM1, and you can see our KDOT's different performance measure goals for our different highway safety measures here, which include number of fatalities per 100 million vehicles traveled, number of serious injuries per 100 million VMT, and non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries. KDOT has made significant progress in achieving these goals. And moving on to PM2, our pavement and bridge condition. So PM2 looks at pavement and bridge condition by percent of pavement in good or poor condition. So it looks at interstate pavement, non-interstate national highway system pavements, the total amount of national highway pavements, and then also looks at the national highway system bridge deck area. Last year, we supported their 2024 and 2026 targets. Again, these ones remain unchanged from last year. We have the system performance measures, which broadly can be almost looked at as congestion measures. It looks at the percent of person miles traveled on the interstate system that are reliable, along with the national highway system as well. And then also looks at freight travel as measured by the Truck Travel Time Reliability Index. You could write a book on this one, but Kansas and the WAMPO region tend to do quite well on these metrics, and we supported these same targets as specified here last year. And then finally, the transit asset management targets. This looks at the different useful life benchmarks and the transit assets, such as in our region, primarily buses for the region. And that finally brings us to our action options. So we can approve supporting KDOT's federal performance measure targets in 2024 as presented, not approve, or approve with specific changes. Per TAC, we approved tax recommendation, approved supporting KDOT's federal performance measure targets in 2024 as presented.
So I have a question. When do we see the results of the performance? We've set these targets for 2023, but you said, well, they did very, very well, but have we ever seen those results? I don't remember seeing them.
As of right now, on the federal performance dashboard on the KDOT website, they have the 2022 actuals. It's a 5-year moving average, just to keep that in mind when you do take a look at it. They have not yet released, or that I have seen, the 2023 official number for the different performance measure 1 safety targets.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Any other questions for Peter? All right, seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion to approve the Support KDOT Federal Performance Measures Target in 2024 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Awesome. Thank you. All those, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it. Next is Marky, right, with the annual Title VI report. I have my Roman numerals right.
Yes, thank you. I have another very quick report. I was just going to share that we submitted our annual Title VI report on September 3rd. So Title VI, as I'm sure many of you are familiar, was enacted as part of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, and national origin in programs and activities receiving federal financial assistance. We have a Title VI program, and then we also develop annual reports that are submitted to KDOT and made available on our website. And these reports really demonstrate our ongoing efforts to create and maintain a transparent and inclusive planning process by integrating the principles of Title VI, as well as environmental justice and limited English proficiency, or LEP. All of these documents can be found on our website in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese.
Oh, good.
As well as complaint forms and other information. And the big takeaway from this is that to date, we have not ever received any Title VI complaints. So that's about all I have.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Questions for Marky? Marky, is there like any highlights or anything you thought was interesting when you were completing the report?
Not specifically for this year. It is a pretty short document. It's maybe 5 or 6 pages.
That's short in MPO world, right?
Yeah, and I mean, that includes a table of contents and kind of outlines it. The main thing is just showing what we did this year. So it explains that we got all of our core documents translated, at least the executive summaries, that we really did try and make these efforts. Another thing I will notice that I don't have on the slide is that in 2025, we will be updating our Title VI program manual, as well as our limited English proficiency plan. So that will be likely next summer. We will bring that back to this body for approval. So I'm sure I will have more updates on that in the coming months. But there are there's nothing very exciting about this annual report other than it really is an effort to be transparent and to show that we have been complying with everything and supporting Title VI.
Thank you, Marky. Thank you. Appreciate it. So Marky, this is an action. No, this is just discussion. We don't actually have to approve it, correct? Okay. Thank you for the updates. Thanks for all your hard work. Next is we'll have Lonnie with the Intelligent Transportation System Architecture Update.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Lonnie.
Lonnie Berkland with JEO Consulting Group, representing our consulting team that also includes our sub-partners Trans Systems and PJ Dunco working on the ITS architecture update. I think I saw Slade was maybe online as well. It's great to see everyone, at least virtually. I was planning on being there in person today, but had a last-minute family obligation, so apologies for that. But I will be in town tomorrow and through Friday and looking forward to meetings in Wichita. And Brad Shores and Mike Malone would probably tackle me if I didn't mention that we are holding a ribbon cutting and an open house for our new office down at 214 North St. Francis tomorrow afternoon from 3:30 to 5:30. And you're certainly all invited to swing by that event as well. So, okay, we're here to quickly talk about ITS architecture. So next slide. So this project includes the update of the WAMPO region ITS architecture, the development of a TSMO strategic deployment plan, and then also the creation of a centralized traffic data repository. And so what is an ITS architecture? Well, it's a roadmap or a foundational framework, if you will, to help guide the planning, the deployment, integration of various ITS technologies within a region. And so the architecture really helps define roles, responsibilities, and relationships between various agencies as technology is deployed during the operations and management of various transportation systems. Your last update was conducted back in 2006. So a fair amount of advancement in technology has occurred, as you can imagine, since that time. Things like connected vehicles and integrated corridors were generically addressed back at that time. But however, there's a lot more specifics on these types of technologies and others. Those things can now be accounted for. And more importantly, the folks that might play a role in operations and maintenance of the ITS infrastructure has also changed over the years. The WAMPO region has experienced a lot of ITS growth. There was your recent TSMO strategic plan that was completed. Many solutions and strategies have been addressed over time. Some updates and additions to those basically will be made as part of this project effort. So the other thing I'd say is data also plays a really big role in modern traffic management. And so ways to develop a centralized repository is also going to be discussed during the project, really as a means to allow agencies access when making critical decisions as you look to plan and engineer and fund future ITS projects. So this project effort is largely centered around engagement, mostly with a steering committee of prime stakeholders that's going to help guide the project through the objectives. And we already had our first meeting with the stakeholders, and we're going to conduct 3 more of those along the way, with also a large stakeholder workshop in November. So that stakeholder group has a broader membership with members like first responders, et cetera, that'll help gain education and awareness while providing input on the project. The last slide just really hits at some of our schedule. It's a pretty aggressive schedule with those steering committee meetings and that engagement really concluding before the holidays. We want to have a good push of lots of meetings and build some synergy before folks hopefully take a little bit of downtime over the holidays. And then consultant team is going to come back and work on a series of deliverables, related to those project objectives that will be presented in the new year for review and comment. So I guess in short, we're up and rolling, and we're honored to serve you on this effort, and really excited to continue to engage with everyone along the way. And thanks for the time to provide a quick update today.
Thank you, Lonnie. Any questions for Lonnie? All right. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for all your work.
Yeah.
Next, right here, we have JB with K254 Access Management Plan.
Good afternoon. My name is JB Wilson. I'm with the Kansas Department of Transportation, the Transportation Planning Section. A corridor management plan is a complex plan that addresses corridors several miles long, usually through multiple local and county jurisdictions. It includes comprehensive engineering analysis and consideration of land use and development impacts to plan for transportation improvements that will meet the future needs. I'm here today to report that the project team is hard at work completing the plan and preparing for our public meeting. They have completed the initial investigations, worked with key stakeholders, and come up with some really great concepts for K254. Our next milestone is the final showing of the K54 management plan on October 9th at Circle Middle School in Benton. David Seitz, the project manager, will report to the K254 Corridor Development Association at their regular November meeting. with the goal of reporting that the corridor management plan is complete. As of today, the plan is nearly complete. Please see the agenda for today's brief presentation. I will provide a project overview and a summary of the process to date. Then I will cover the significant findings of the study and briefly show the concepts for the open house in late July and early August. Finally, I will wrap up with our next steps. The purpose of the study is to anticipate future land development and establish an access management plan approach that serves the community while keeping traffic moving effectively and safely. A 250 planning horizon is the planning horizon to determine what is needed for long-term improvements by the year 2050. The planned area is 22 miles long along K254 from Wichita to El Dorado. KDOT, the K254 Development Association, Butler County, Sedgwick County, Park City, Keachai, Wichita, Bel Air, Benton, Towanda, and El Dorado have all partnered in developing this planning project. The plan kicked off in April of 2023. 4 public engagement meetings have already been held. The general phases of the project are issues and opportunities, potential improvements, preferred alternatives and recommendations, and the final recommendations. We are currently wrapping up the final recommendations phase. The plan recommends transportation solutions that are going to serve everyone into the future with continued development and growth in traffic volumes. The plan provides both short-term and long-term strategies to help with the uncertainty and timing of traffic growth. Traffic can be effectively managed in the short term as an expressway with at-grade intersections that are used today. The long-term plan is for the K254 to become a freeway. The freeway concept removes the at-grade intersections. New interchanges will be the only access points onto K254. To maintain local access and local opportunities, overpasses will be used at select locations. A continuously paved frontage road will need to be on the south side of K254, and local roads may need to be considered for additional improvements. The QR code on the right side of the screen will take you to the KDOT website for the K254 project and the address that has been provided at the bottom. All public meeting documents are available there online. This is an image of the short-term improvements on the western half of the corridor. We generally recommend the following improvements: lighting at the intersections, extensions of existing turn lanes and existing acceleration lanes, new turn lanes and acceleration lanes, R-cuts as a middle step between short-term and long-term improvements at the Adams and Main Street intersections. Under the short-term recommendations, all intersections would remain open as they are today. This image represents the short-term improvements on the eastern half of the corridor. The plan notes 2 additional recommendations in this section to begin restricting access to meet the long-term goal of the freeway section. Arapahoe Road is recommended to be converted to a right-in, right-out with right turn lane improvements. Shumway Road is recommended to restrict the north leg to right-in, right-out, and the south leg to fully closed. The east right turn lane at River Valley is recommended to be offset to create a free-flowing right turn lane onto K254. This is an image of the long-term proposal for the western half of the corridor. The gray box at Rock and Webb Road states that this area has been selected into KDOT's design pipeline, and the design recommendations will be handled by a separate project. The plan recommends interchanges at Greenwich Road, Butler Road, and Main Street. The typical recommended configuration for an interchange is a diamond. An exception at Butler Road was made to preserve several houses in the northeast corridor. An overpass is recommended at 127th Street and County Line Road. Full closure of the intersections at 143rd Street and Meadowlark is recommended. The frontage road in blue is planned to be a fully paved road. The final plan indicates that some portions of 69th Street as a local road, the green line on the image, The traffic volumes on 69th will increase to the route road. The plan makes no specific recommendations for improvements, but suggests that it will be revisited when the freeway is implemented. This is an image of the long-term proposal for the eastern half of the corridor. The plan recommends interchanges at Adams Road, River Valley Road, and Ohio Street. The interchanges are planned to be diamonds except for at River Valley Road. River Valley will be a folded diamond to avoid impacts to the floodplain. The south ramp terminal at River Valley Road will be a roundabout intersection. Full closure of the connection at Indian Iowa Road and Arapahoe Road and Shumway Road is recommended. Our next steps is the final showing of the plan on October 9th. This slide outlines the general program for the event. The public meeting will be in the evening at the middle school. We also have some scheduled pop-up meetings along the corridor at El Dorado, Circle, and Butler Community College. Thank you. If there are any additional questions, this is available online. That QR code will take you to my associate, Tim Potter, to ask him any additional questions, as well as David Seitz, the project manager.
I think Mayor Jim has some questions. I don't have any questions, but I do want to make a comment. So on behalf of Bel Air and all of the K254 corridor management, sure, I don't know, we have a group called the K254 Association. And it includes all the communities from Park City, Keachai, Bel Air, Benton, Towanda, El Dorado, are all members of that. And we appreciate this work that you've done, that you've brought it this far along. It's a tremendous effort. I know you've done a lot of things already, fixing a lot of small problems that have made some difference. And we appreciate that. And we look forward to getting some more long-term things done as well. So thank you very much for on behalf of Bel Air and the Management Association, because I am the vice chair of that association. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All right. Thank you, JB. Appreciate it. Next, we'll go to committee and partnership updates. First, executive committee, the next meeting at 11 o'clock on Thursday, November 14th. We meet here on the second floor in the MABCD conference room. It is an open meeting and anyone is welcome to join. So please do come and bring us treats. Next, we're going to have the Kansas Department of Transportation. Mike, are you with us virtually today?
I'm with you today, Madam Chair. I apologize for not being
Becky.
there.
No, and sorry to miss seeing you here today. I did chat with Mike a little bit before the meeting today, and I know you have always great updates, but I asked if perhaps you could give us some specific updates on K96 and East Kellogg. I know that within the city of Wichita, we have some decisions that we need to be making, but depending on maybe delays coming on these projects. So any information you could share, I think would be very, very helpful for this body. So thank you.
No, absolutely. And yeah, what I'll do, I'll summarize a conversation that Deputy Secretary Schieber had with local officials. I think it's been a couple, 2-3 weeks. Is that right, Becky? As much as it pains me to call you Becky instead of council member or Madam Chair. Okay, so yeah, great.
You're exactly right.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so Greg Schieber is our chief engineer, also deputy secretary. He came down a few weeks ago and met with local officials to talk about a number of projects, including K96 and phase 2 of East Kellogg. So one thing Greg pointed out, so we are in year 5 of the Eisenhower Legacy Transportation Program, otherwise known as IKE. As part of IKE, we did plan on spending about $2.4 billion statewide on expansion and modernization projects. Thus far, we have about $2.1 billion worth of projects in our construction pipeline. So that leaves about $300 million left to spend statewide on our expansion and modernization projects. So that's got us thinking about those remaining larger projects across Kansas, including projects in the WAMPO region, such as the improvements on K96, which are currently in our engineering pipeline, and East Kellogg through Andover as well. Looking at our remaining budget, looking at the estimates currently applied towards those projects in terms of construction estimates, it's getting increasingly difficult for us to see how we're going to be able to do these projects under Ike. So again, we're taking a look continuously at our cash flow. We're looking at what we have coming in terms of revenue. We're also reviewing some options in terms of, phasing these projects, maybe doing some improvement packages that are a bit less than that full project. The problem there is some of these phased approaches, they're still very expensive. There's still 100 million plus to do, again, those kind of smaller packages. So we're looking at those. I'll have to be honest, I'm not sure it's terribly promising at this time to look at those packages, but we are keeping a watchful eye on those options. And we're also strategically considering our options to pursue federal grants as well to sort of assist with these projects and get them underway. So again, I know it's not the news people probably want to hear right now. That's kind of where we're at the moment. This won't be the last time that we ever talk about it. But again, I did want to bring this to your attention. And Becky, thank you for asking me to give this update here today. And with that, I will certainly stand and try to address and answer any questions.
Any questions for our friend Mike? So Mike, just to summarize, because I promised some of my colleagues back at City Hall, staff and also fellow council members, and I know Steve and Gary are here from the city and you can help and certainly always tell me when I'm wrong, but it's not that the money is being diverted from the WAMPO region to other parts of the state. It's just that there's a funding gap. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's absolutely the case. Greg and I were talking earlier. You look at our cost escalations versus the increased revenues we're currently seeing from the federal funding, bill, and also from state sales tax. It's about a 40-20 split. So we're seeing about a 20% increase in the revenues, but in terms of cost escalations and cost increases, we're seeing that as more of a 40% increase. So really, we're just trying to keep up, right? So yeah, these funds are not being sent somewhere else. We're just trying to complete the projects that we currently have programmed.
Thank you. Any other questions, either from staff? I know Lynn is here from the county. Any other questions, or everybody good?
I do have one.
Okay, Mike. I'm sorry, Council.
Just Mike, always Mike. Are we going to look at taking these projects on one at a time instead of, maybe allocating funds towards K96 or Kellogg and just doing one project at a time? Or are we still going to look at kind of running the programs simultaneously?
I think that's an excellent question. The short answer I can give right now is all options are on the table. I want to make sure that we're very, very clear about that. And the approach you've outlined there is one that's certainly being talked about.
Okay, and I guess my second question, is this going to delay any work on the canal route that we're looking at doing anytime soon?
I would say no. I think that is an independent consideration from what we're talking about here today. And we're estimating 50-20 years of remaining service life on those bridges. So we're quite a ways out from any projects impacting the canal route and vice versa.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great questions, Councilmember Hoheisel. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And maybe we'll see you in November in person.
You will. I promise.
Okay. Thank you. Wichita Metro Division of KDOT. JB, do you have anything to add today?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
So as of today, the entrance ramp from East 13th Street to northbound I-135 has been reopened to the public. So that's been part of the northbound I-135 2nd to 17th Street rehabilitation project. So that's good news. The Central Street on-ramp and the 8th and 9th Street off-ramp to northbound I-135 have been reopened to the public as well. So there's 3 ramps open today. We're really happy about that. I encourage everybody to try them out. Westbound US 54 exit ramp to southbound I-135 has been closed. It closed last week. It's expected to go till December, but after December, I would recommend everybody try that one out as well. It's gonna be really nice.
Drive early, drive often, right, JB? Oh, awesome. Anything for JB? And then finally, Federal Highway Administration. I can't see that well. Is Rick or anyone joining us today? I don't think so. Nick?
Rick just sent a note. Sorry, it's Mike from KDOT. Rick just sent an email. He was pulled away to an urgent matter, so he will not be here for the remainder of today's meeting.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well, not awesome. He's not here, but thank you. Yeah. Yeah, let's keep that between us, okay? I did not mean that the way it sounded. Sorry about that. On to other business. I just wanted to make an invitation on Friday, this Friday at 9 a.m. We will be doing the groundbreaking for the new multimodal center. It's at 207 South Sycamore. So exciting day for the city of Wichita for our transit/transportation department. So if you're free on Friday morning at 9 a.m., we hope you'll join us. Any other business for the good of the group or announcements? All right, seeing none, and by the way, I just want to point out, this may be a new record, 52 minutes, right? So everybody go and use your extra hour and 8 minutes wisely. Go have fun. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Anyone opposed, you can stay. We'll see you in November. Thank you.